Yeah, who wants to have fun like silver arrows or a butter sword or, any male upgrade ever, right?
Yeah. I've gone on record many, many times saying green mail sucks. Period. End of statement. That's just the fact of the matter. Starting with a book. So that's kind of interesting. Very well might see some people make an early desert dip, if that's the case.
Yeah, that early book could mean some things, or it could be totally random, as the randomizer usually does.
Oh yeah, and chat does bring up the fact that you could just go check the pedestal while you're over in the woods. All right, so we are gonna get good old-fashioned sword opening. So no real problems here.
And 3 bombs in the first chest, so no worries about farming either.
Yeah, it's a good thing because the guards were not in a group that hands out bombs. That's for sure. They are in a group, however, that hands out full magic in the first pull there. So JP has a lot of magic, and Humbug just hasn't killed anything, or has killed something, but it didn't drop.
And we're going to see a pretty standard NMG style escape here. So, a little background on these racers. We're in Group Z. This is the last race of Group Z. Both runners lost O2 to Chimo at some point in this process and swept Lock Coal Live 2-0. And we are 1-1 in this series. So this is about as even as a race is going to get. So I'm excited for this one.
Yeah. All right, so it looks like we've got some predictions started up. So have fun with that sort of thing. And while that's happening, we've got JP and Humbug heading through to find Zelda in the cell down here. And good old 8 slashes strat from Humbug, getting real close to the door. You're gonna be a little careful there. You don't want to get him like right up in the door. At least you want to make sure to pick up the key before touching the door, because then you might have a little bit of a conversation with the door.
Yeah. And man, if there's one thing rando runners hate, it's having conversations.
Exactly.
Maybe the devs should make that the big key is missing message turn into the door comes to life and taunts you or something like that. That would be good times.
The keyhole begins to speak. Nobody gets to see the wizard.
That would be especially good for the curtain behind Aga. If you get there with no sword, just calls you a numpty, and there we go.
Seems legit. All right. So we enter the dark portion of this, and of course, the light cone here is free for standard mode, and it is free even if you have to come back here, though we will not expect our runners to have to come back, thanks to finding bombs early. Oh, so the rupee count is rising on both sides. So the the prediction on rupees, total rupees, is getting very, very close.
Approximately half of chat, actually probably all of chat, is very nervous right now. JP getting a little bit low, but should be okay with the key rat room here.
Nothing past here deals more than a quarter heart of damage.
And of course, some hearts here in the chest room in the sewers, so...
Oh, another 5 from the chests.
And a few more bombs in the Sanctuary chest, which will top us off to cover everything in Kakariko that we might want to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's our first map chest as well. That looked like crystals on Eastern Hera, and then green pendant in Desert.
Aha. I couldn't tell which pendant, so I'm glad you were able to see that.
I think it was green. It might have been blue, though. Not 100% sure.
Well, were there little sparkles around it?
That I could not see.
Yeah. The green one is visually distinct for colorblind people. All right, so both runners do go ahead and check the Lumberjack Cave. I think that's a reasonable play when you get a sword, just because you're one step closer to being able to do Aga anyway.
Yeah, as with many things in Rando, that's very much up to the runner's taste. You've got plenty of people who just refuse to check it until they have boots. Just all sorts of philosophies there. As we find a bow early on in the Lost Woods hideout.
Aha. So with Desert being a pendant, I would be very tempted to actually just go for the pedestal check here.
And both of our runners are doing this, in fact. That's kind of interesting. So we will make chat happy with the ped check. That's why you saw JP go to the drop down first and then walk up to the mushroom spot afterwards.
Rip ped. And it looks like Humbugh is going to go for the early South Shore play here. Or maybe Eastern at this rate, because you did pick up the bow.
Yeah, so Humbugg's going to commit to this Eastern Palace play right away with that bow and sword. Particularly with that sword, the dark rooms get a whole lot easier. They're still not trivial by any stretch, though, so...
Right, right. So last night I played a door randomizer, and let me tell you, dark rooms in that, they'll mess with you. Half of them you've never seen before.
And the other half you have to do backwards?
Yeah, basically.
A nice treasure trove in the well, though, finding glove and fire rod. Okay, that's very interesting. We have a book, a glove, and a fire source already. This is not the first time I have seen this with Green Pendant Desert Palace.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a process for JP here, because he's got two pretty reasonable options. You know, you want to clear Eastern because it's a crystal, and it has the cane in it, apparently. But you've also got everything you need to clear desert, potentially. And that's a mirror on the bottle vendor as well.
Seed is being extremely generous early on.
It's like, so why don't we just throw in the means to beat Hera while we're at it?
Yeah, definitely some interesting decisions for both of these runners. Humbugh could have the option of putting off CAC even a little bit more and going to do South Shore, hoping to have Dark World access before he actually goes to Kakariko, and then he can just go right into the Village of Outcasts portal from there. JP has some interesting options. I think Mini Moldorm Cave to Dam to Desert area could be very interesting also.
Ooh, yeah, that's a reasonable play. I hadn't even considered that, but yeah. Skipping Ice Rod Cave for once and going the other direction. Yeah. Wait. That was a glove? Didn't look like a glove to me.
Yeah, I thought the glove was in the well, so... Humbugh is in this dark room, has the first arrow into the Igor to be able to track its location. Was maybe getting... Oh, nope. There we go. I was afraid he's getting bullied a little bit by the other Igor, but spent that key and got through, so nicely done in the dark room there.
And JP using the shovel to pick up a bottle, which would have been nice, a minute ago, except you needed to be in Kakariko to get that shovel. Now, Humbugh doesn't know that this place is in Logic, but it is, on account of having the fire rod available.
Yeah, he did skip the currently out of Logic big key chest, though, so he is trying to cut a corner early on.
Oh, right, there was another bottle. I'm a dumb.
But gets a 5 rupee drop off of the Armos Knights, so that will just be a dungeon item left behind in the big key chest, and that's a minute and a half saved.
Hello, we got a flute and boots. Well, this is just the House of Speed over here.
And that will be a little advantage that Humbugh picks up if he does continue on to Mini Moldorm Cave next. He will have that flute ready to activate on his first trip into Kakariko. Might save him a little bit of time flying around the light world.
Alright, both runners now in the dam at the same time, appearing to go different directions, though. I mean, unless they're both going west from here.
Some discussion in chat about that skip that Humbugh made of the Eastern Palace big key chest. It is definitely a questionable gamble, particularly when the light world is often so dense with items, since your dark world access has to be somewhere around here. But Humbugh got away with it today. I think in my opinion, I'll say he got away with it, but certainly different runners will see that differently.
That being said, I'm the kind of person who would never make that gamble, and I'm also the kind of person who will probably never make this tournament again. So,
But JP now over in Desert Palace, and with those boots, this is guaranteed to be full clearable for him since he has gloves and a fire source, and this is boots locked.
Yep, and the good news is, not only can you get all the items in here, but the green pendant awaits at the end, and we can, he can take that over to Eastern while he's at it. So while Humbugh will be able to activate the flute on the first try, or on the first trip to CAC, JP will be able to grab the green pendant on the first trip to Eastern. I wouldn't call that necessarily a wash, but there is some advantage to be had both directions.
And JP, meanwhile, is leaving the chests on the right side of Desert for now. I presume he will go back through and check the right side after he's beaten Lanmo on his way over to Agina's Cave.
Yeah, I don't believe Agina's Cave has been checked yet. That seems like the sort of thing you would do very last over here. And, I'm not sure, like, my brain hasn't really kept track of the count of things here. So it's possible JP will need to go back into Desert to look for another item. And then sort of emerge via the right side door to head to Agina's Cave. All right, 10 bombs from Lanmo and a green pendant in the face.
Yeah, missed a couple fire rod shots, but nice swap over to arrow strats to finish off Lanmo there and grab that green pendant.
It does look like JP is going to go back in looking for that second item. Now, we did notice that there was a shield on the ledge down there. I don't think anyone's going out of their way for that, but at least we know where one of them is. The only time I would care about having a shield is if I had two of them and I was going to fight blind. And ideally, if I'm doing blind correctly, I shouldn't care, but again, I'm not perfect. So these runners are, shall we say, good at the game.
I think that's a safe assessment.
And as expected, JP heads out the right entrance of Desert and is heading to Agina's Cave right now. All right, so JP, gonna go activate the flute here, I imagine.
We're gonna see Bonk Rocks on the way. Yep.
So I believe the main brackets is just a single elimination sort of thing, but it is like best of 3 series still.
And so Humbugh is up on Death Mountain rescuing the old man as JP is activating the flute. And yeah, I think we will see JP go straight to Eastern Palace after this, turning that green pendant, see what else Saha has, and then go ahead to the first crystal in Eastern there.
Now, if Sahasrara turns out to have absolutely nothing, then that's going to be a pretty big waste of time for JP heading over to Desert there.
Yeah, because we're going to need to find some sort of progression either on Saha or up in Tower of Hera that Humbug is going to be heading to right now.
And I was wondering if JP was going to do this. He's actually going to go for Eastern first and then go hit Sahasrara afterwards. That does make sense with the way it's put together.
I guess there's an outside chance that our progression is on Zora and both runners are just going to clear everything before they get there, but there does have to be something somewhere because we don't yet have access to either Aga or the Dark World normally, so...
We did get a real quick check from Humbug on the Ether tablet. That turns out to be a whole lot of Garbo. And there's our first green 20 of the day. This is, look at what you could have had you been playing on a more fun mode. I'm kidding. A lot of people find this a lot more fun just because it's a little more challenging and they're used to, they'd rather do something a little more interesting.
And it does really approximate the NMG loadout, right? The 14 hearts that you're capped at is what you would get just picking up all the heart containers in an NMG run. All the mail upgrades would be skipped in a typical NMG run, so that's really what it does.
But I mean, in NMG, I can go like 2 seconds out of my way and pick up the red mail. Come on, y'all.
Right there with you.
I'm messing with you. I think it's more like 14 seconds, but I haven't really done the math.
So I'm also being reminded in chat that we might have some progression in Ice Rod Cave as well, since neither of our runners has checked that yet.
Yeah.
With Flute,
luckily, it's a very quick Flute to 8, yeah.
Yeah, anytime.
And unfortunately for JP, he is going to go to the big key chest here, which we all did say is probably the right move, but not in this particular case.
Speaking of NMG, Humbug in this NMG Moldorm fight.
So dealing with the first 5 is usually okay. The last one, oh, he just did a dash. That definitely mitigates the chance of being knocked back. And we get a small key, so
So Hera Basement is in play now.
Yeah, right now the progressive bows still show up as a second bow in the light, like as a freestanding item, but when you pick it up, it's a 20, so it's really heartbreaking.
Chat corrected me. We did find both items there. I remembered the green 20 in the basement, but I missed the second one, so...
Yeah, me too. And speaking of 20, there is another 20 for Humbug. Luckily for Humbug, he has the total of 537 rupees, which is just a really common total I see. I don't know why. I guess it just kind of works out that way most of the time.
So this is interesting. We are running out of spots for progression to happen. Ice Rod Cave, nothing. Humbug's going to water walk up to the Zora area here, so we'll see some more things up here, but it's feeling like it's got to be either Zora or this green pendant turn in.
Humbug getting a free green potion in the Waterfall Fairy. That is, I believe, the vanilla drop. Big old chunk of change. Oh, hammer time on Sahasrara. Hello. JP just takes a huge lead here.
I mean, it's a lead. I'm not sure I would say it's a huge lead because JP is still going to go full clear Hera just like Humbug did. Humbug is probably going to go straight to Desert now and clear that and then go immediately turn in that green pendant.
Well,
So
the upside for JP is he'll be able to go over to Paradox Cave while he's up there.
yeah, so I think he's ahead basically that extra mountain trip that Humbug is going to have to take to go back up over and across the Paradox Cave. But
yeah, so I guess it depends on your definition of the word huge.
That's true.
Yeah, but I mean, with the level of skill you see on display from the racers in this tournament, 20 seconds is huge.
Yeah, that's true, and certainly, it's hard to gain much time on your opponent in the light world since so many of the checks are going to be exactly the same, just right on top of each other. So JP coming out even a little bit ahead here is a pretty big advantage for the start of this race. But I was going to say, that's the second time in the last 2 days I have seen Green Pendant Desert with the hammer on Saha, and it led to a very similar situation as this that still managed to even itself out by the time we got into the Dark World and finishing out our Dark World loops. So I was surprised at how close the runners actually were in that particular race after this Green Pendant mishap happened there. So we will see how this particular race shakes out.
All right, so I just now saw that blue boomerang there. It's like, what, JP, you don't want to hover across for the boomerang? I'm messing with you. All right, so we see the 5 and 6 crystals were at Ice and Turtle Rock there. I didn't quite see the pendants, but I think one of them was at Skullwoods. But don't hold me to it.
Yeah, Skull and Swamp, I think those were.
Okay, so between the two of us, we caught that map check. Alright, so JP gonna go finish off Hera here while Humbug is gonna go finish off Landmo. See if Humbug can get a better Landmo fight here.
And JP is going to have the advantage in the Moldorm fight of having that hammer, just 3 hammer hits rather than the 6 sword slashes, and can avoid the speedy, angry Moldorm phase of the fight.
Yep, Humbug also having to switch to the bow here because Landmo does not want to cooperate with your fire rod shots ever. There's hammer number 1, hammer number 2, and number 3. So JP takes it down and will immediately piece the heck out over to the East Death Mountain area. Coming from the top, this is probably a play through Spiral Cave and then to Paradox Cave. You might also peek at what's on the floating island.
And so JP will be the first one over to East Death Mountain. Humbug was just going to save and quit back up to the mountain. Or no, he's got to do his Green Pendant turn in first. But Humbug does have those fake flipper checks out of the way, so a couple overworld checks up on JP. But yeah, still a little bit of an edge to JP so far in this race, you have to say.
Alright, just a piece of heart in Spiral Cave like you might expect. Humbug has just picked up the hammer. So basically it's going to be a flute to 1, and then, yeah, like we said, they're going to be real together. Oh, Humbug's actually going to go for the magic bat play here, it looks like.
Interesting. This check is out of logic currently since we sequence broke our way into the waterfall fairy, but...
And speaking of magic bat, there's the mushroom for JP. Another thing you can use to do the magic bat check, provided you get that cane, which we do. Alright, just a shield there on the magic bat. We got a pearl, a second sword, and a big 20. So the pearl gets us our good old-fashioned Dark World access. And JP appears to be heading for the flute so that the Dark World trek can commence. Starting in the West Dark World, it looks like. With that fire rod in hand, that makes a whole lot of sense. You can sneak right into Skull Woods if you want to. Though I'm not sure you want to, given the pendant status, but who knows. Pendant dungeons have treated JP pretty well so far.
Yeah, that's very true. Once again, lots of options for the runners. We could, do a standard Dark World loop south from the village. I could see Hype Cave first into pod play being very tempting here, since we have that hammer and bow and could clear that out fully. But yeah, JP opting to dip into the front of Skull Woods here and see what we can find.
I was going to say to somebody in chat, you misspelled pendant, and then I realized, no. You used exactly the word you were attempting to use. I mean, yeah, Pendant Skull Woods is a thing. I mean, this isn't version 26 anymore, where it was always Skull Woods, but you know. Okay.
I mean, you're not going to complain about that tempered sword.
Nope.
So I'm not fully sure of the story between these two in their first 2 games, but they were joking in the pre-race chat about how maybe Swamp will actually be a crystal this time. So I think they've had some fun with Pendant Swamp in the past.
I see.
So I don't know if that extends to other Pendant dungeons as well, but Tempered Sword paying off nicely. Ooh, as Humbug turns in the mushroom immediately to find those flippers.
Speaking of Pendant Swamp, I don't think anybody's going to willingly go to Pendant Swamp right now. I mean, maybe Humbug will, given the history of this series. Who knows? I feel like this is just a play for Hype Cave. Okay. Speaking of Pendant Swamp, there's the hook shot sitting on Bumper Cave, which we do not have the necessary implement to get through.
And chat reminded me, this has seen a Moldorm bounce in this series so far, so that hook shot out on Bumper Ledge is very interesting.
Ooh. Oh yeah, I would definitely be considering, be thinking about how I could make my fingers do the hover thing at this point. But I've discovered the best The #1 secret to hovering, you know what it is? It's having actual hardware.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Oh, apparently Andy has the cape.
God, that guy, what a jerk. That was a joke. That was a joke. I know everyone knows that was a joke. Oh, there's the cape there on Hobo. So Andy is the old man under the bridge confirmed.
Fair enough. Whew.
All right, so both routes that these runners have taken have paid off in different ways. I think that cape find is actually really big for Humbugh, since he'll be able to grab that hook shot on his first trip over to the bumper ledge, and JP will probably be taking a trip back there at some point.
Yeah, it's a pretty huge deal. And Humbugh is taking his inventory and heading directly to Palace of Darkness, which he should be able to full clear fairly easily, you know, for some value of the word easily. You've got dark rooms in here, but that's something most of our runners can deal with.
Yeah, and especially with that fire rod, the Dark Turtle room, which is the worst part of Pod, gets a whole lot easier.
Oh yeah. Just gotta, you know, hit one of those torches. Which, you know, it's non-trivial to do that, but it's not hard. We got a big old key there for Humbugh on the bridge chest.
So I believe that means, well, we might still find an item on the right side because we had to leave behind the big key chest for now over in Pod. Yeah, I like this routing from Humbugh. When you find the early big key, you can just go straight back to Helmasaur, and then sort of use defeating the dungeon as a way of warping back to the beginning, rather than doing that extra mirror.
Yep, that certainly does work. All right, looks like JP's gonna, you know, do his best impression of the time stop maneuver, but we'll see him come back. Here we go. Ooh, Ice Rod just in time. So yeah, both runners finding important things. I was like, JP, did you go a little too early? Get bonked? Wait, no, you just don't have the key. Key's locked in the chest.
So yeah, Ice Rod Hunt is over. We are rapidly running out of things that we need to finish this seed. Since we know where Cape is, we know Hookshot is currently accessible.
The main outstanding item is going to be those Titan's mitts.
and an outside chance that we might go on an ether hunt to open up one of our 2 dungeons that require a medallion.
Yep, but that's just about it. Of course, logically, this game would expect you to have a lamp at some point, but nobody cares. The boots in this seed were, they're in Mini Moldorm Cave. Right next to the flute.
So it looks like JP is gonna do this fake powder glitch.
Oh!
Ooh, speaking of the mitts.
Alright, so the mitts have been acquired by Humbug, which could put us potentially in a no-mode situation. We don't know for sure, because we haven't seen the whole Misery Mire area, or the Turtle Rock entrance for that matter. But there's a reasonable chance we don't need anything else.
Yeah, and I think this is boding pretty well for Humbug's chances. Because he is basically Ice Rod from Go-ish mode, since we know he is capable of Moldorm bouncing. That Quake medallion, where was that? Was that in Thieves Town?
Possibly.
Because certainly Humbug will be full clearing Thieves Town, since it is a crystal dungeon. So he's going to find the Ice Rod in there. And if he rushes that Thieves Town and finds Ice Rod and Quake, he might just completely skip all of those overworld checks and never see that hookshot on Bumper Ledge.
Yeah, that is entirely possible. Hey, speaking of the lamp, there it is. For JP.
And Humbug is probably about to find Flippers. Oh no, already has Flippers, just stocking up on potions.
Looks like JP's going for the Bombos tablet check here. And I imagine he'll go for Hype Cave and then probably over to the pod area. Humbug is going for Ice Palace right now. Interesting play. I mean, kind of chasing the mitts advantage while you got it.
Yep, and heading straight to another crystal dungeon that we can full clear. You can debate about which crystal dungeon you might want to head to first, but you can't really argue with full clearing crystals.
Yeah, and Ice Palace has just gotten so much less annoying since all the new tech was added.
Yeah, and with Flute, you know, it's always kind of isolated by itself, so it's not like you can even route it in with something else. So yeah, when you go here is not really a routing consideration.
All right. I didn't even notice the half magic the first time we checked Hype Cave, but I'm certainly never saying no to half magic. No, sir. Alright, so JP is going to take a flute here. Where are we going? 5. Alright, so it looks like the pod play is happening. So that's going to do JP some good.
Yeah, so he will come out of pod with mitts, but no flippers, which also means no cape, since he has not fake flippered at all.
Alright, big key. And Humbug gonna bomb across to ice tea room here.
And as we know, finding nothing of much interest in Ice Palace.
I mean, the only thing that we could potentially find here that would make any difference would be ether. And that has not occurred.
Humbug on the Master Sword Cold Stare fight, but went and grabbed that blue potion with that in mind.
Seems entirely legit. And JP also going to go straight to the boss here, so he's going to have to come back in for the mitts.
Ooh, nice double spin from Humbug there to finish off that second puff, and gets the third one down as well. Did a really good job of getting some Fire Rod splash damage in when the puffs were concentrated in that upper right corner.
So the real question for JP is when, if ever, is he going to go find that cape so he can get the hook shot? Or does he need it?
Cursed Sword Beams slowing down that Dark Turtle room for JP, as we see a Bombos entry for Misery Mire.
That's good for Humbug here. Humbug is still checking the occasional spot here, because, you know, certainly wouldn't want to go without an extra sword, or, you know, some, you know, I don't think the default is wanting to not have the hook shot.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is so confident in their Moldorm bounce that they're just like, hook shot, nah. I gotta say, I know that Humbug is trying to avoid getting baited into a whole bunch of Village of Outcasts, Smith Chain type checks if he doesn't have to while he's looking for this Ice Rod still, but it feels like not doing Thieves Town before Misery Mire is a really weird choice, because Go Mode Thieves Town and non-Go Mode Thieves Town are basically the same.
Now, that being said, you could say something similar for Misery Mire, so I'm not, you know, I'm not going to fault him for that. And again, he seems to be following the ones that he can do with the mitts right now, thinking he's got them, and JP might not. Speaking
That is
of,
true.
JP has the mitts now.
the thing about Mire is that how long it takes for you to find all the items really depends on where the big key is, like whether you have to do cutscene or not. So early big key means a go mode of Mire would be very fast, whereas Humbug's still going to have to do some extra checks here.
Yep. So there's one of the items here. It's a single arrow. Whee.
So yeah, not surprised that we're going to see Humbug skip the cutscene chest for now, and hope to find the last item in one of the 3 remaining checks, 2 here on the right and then 1 on Vitreous himself.
Now the compass room there, if it has a small key, you know that the big key is in the cutscene chest. You don't know the opposite. It looks like JP is about to join Humbug.
Yeah, might also be thinking along those same lines of, I just found these myths, I'm going to go chase them somewhere. And since JP has not seen the flippers yet, Ice Palace is not in logic as far as he's concerned.
Yeah.
Mug also not having Lamp, but doing a pretty nice job with that first dark room in the Mire basement.
Man, Vortex, you expecting me to count keys in Ice Palace?
Yeah, I have no idea if Ice Palace was hook locked or not.
Alright, so Humbug is going to be finishing off Vitreous here shortly. Right, JP finds the big key, and he's just going to the boss.
So the issue, because did we find a small key in this in the bridge chest? Oh, JP didn't even open that. Okay. Okay. Because the issue is if you only find the big key in the first 2 checks and then just get your small key from under the pot, then if you have to come back into Mire to find items, then your routing just becomes truly awful. But that small key on the bridge is going to bail JP out.
Alright, so Humbug's going to go over to Checkerboard Cave. Bunch of money there. Alright, JP employing some Brian strats here on Vitreous, which is just perfectly fine.
A little bit laggy, but very, very safe.
As we have stated before, or at least I have stated before, green mail sucks.
Alright, so it looks like Humbug is working his way up into Village of Outcasts from the south. That might mean he's going to grab the Smith on his way into Thieves Town.
And that'd be kind of interesting. Alright, so let's see what JP decides to do with himself now. He's floating to 2. This could mean good news for him, as the flippers are going to be found.
Yep, and that's probably going to send him toward Ice Palace, and we will see if that gets him the hobo check as well.
He is stocking up on those blue potions.
Ooh, if he's coming from this direction, we might see Hobo before Ice Palace, even.
Doesn't look like it.
Nope, that was just a Hylia Island check. But I think that means JP is thinking about those flipper checks. So we will have a good chance of seeing the hobo right after this Ice Palace clear.
Alright, JP into Ice Palace now. I'm going to be doing everybody's favorite icebreaker glitch here.
Yeah, he's playing like he's in go mode. I mean, he skipped out on the items in Meyer, period. He didn't hit the switch. What? No, I'm confused. Not hitting the switch means he's planning on full clearing this, because he's committed to going to Iced Tea no matter what.
Yeah, that's my issue here. It's like, what?
And we did not find the big key there on the right side, right?
Correct, it's right here.
Alright, so that means Ice Palace is logically hookshot locked. I think. Oh, well, maybe not, because now the small key outside of the right side, I'll just wait for chat to correct me.
I honestly, like, I look into key logic and that sort of things. I play a lot of Key Sanity. I do not know the Ice Palace key logic and do not care to learn it.
It's basically a question of whether you can get to the basement and potentially waste your small keys and then lose one off of the right side. But since there was not actually a small key on the right side, you could get to all of them without having to open up the right side. So I think that means it is not logically hookshot locked. Okay, nope, Vortex of Doom is telling me it is. I will trust Vortex on that one.
I think he's saying that the right side is locked by hookshot, but not the boss.
Right.
So JP got the Tempered Sword in Skull Woods with a short dip in there early on. Alright, so JP has finished off Ice Palace. Up to 6 crystals now. We'll see if he decides to do the flipper checks. He is sitting on the mirror right now, but that could just be a mirror into a flute. We will have to see.
Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. He's doing flipper checks, but not the right ones. Just gonna head straight down to this waterfall portal.
He is going to orphan that. And Humbugh finds the ice rod, which was the one thing really preventing him from acting like this is go mode.
Yeah, Humbugh is in potential Moldorm bounce mode as long as Turtle Rock isn't ethered, which is, I think, the most qualified go mode call I have ever made in my life.
I mean, at least you didn't have to account for Gen's Tower Torch and right side GT and all that mess. So JP is missing the cape from Hobo, which would get you the hook shot on Bumper Ledge. And it doesn't look like JP is going for it. Well, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense that he's just going to go ahead to clear out Turtle Rock. We also haven't seen any of Dark Death Mountain at this point.
Yeah, I mean, given JP's situation, that does seem like a reasonable play. It just means it's going to take a hot minute before he finds that cape.
Humbugh is still checking stuff here in Village of Outcasts, so it seems like he's not too keen to bet on the Moldorm bounce while he's still got some easy checks available.
But it doesn't look like he's going to go up to Bumper Cave, which we know is the one that he needs.
And there's a Bombos on Turtle Rock.
I was like, what are you doing, Humbugh? Oh, okay, going for bombs.
Yep, this is the warm-up to the Moldorm bounce. I believe he got up to 40 bombs in their first race. Only needed one. Only 15. Okay, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm losing track of all of the Moldorm bounces I've seen this week. It's madness.
Yeah, to be honest, I've never actually seen a Moldorm balance in the wild, so this might be interesting.
Yeah, so for anyone in chat who hasn't seen it, this is a relatively recently discovered trick, relatively speaking, where if you do a spin off of Moldorm's head, you get knocked back. If a bomb explodes near you, you get knocked back. If those two things happen on the exact same frame, for some reason, you get knocked back a lot. And it's enough to just propel you across the gap after Moldorm 2.
I wonder if it's possible in like a weird enough circumstance for the sword slash to both cause the bounce and cause the final blow on Moldorm at the same time that you get the bomb explosion, and so you can also pick up the chest.
That would definitely be interesting. I don't know if you can both bounce off the head and hit the tail at the same time. We'll get Yuzuhara on that and see what he can come up with.
I mean, as many things as have to come together for Moldorm Bounce to work properly, it really feels like it's just easier to hover it.
Yeah, it's really weird because they're both very precise tricks. But the Moldorm Bounce, there's a lot more luck of getting Moldorm to come to the right spot. But then I think it's mechanically less intensive than hovering is.
Fair enough.
Because you can just like pause buffer for days while you're trying to get the precise right frame thing on the Moldorm Bounce.
I hadn't considered the pause buffer. JP did not get a good poke room here. Oof.
All right, pretty clutch for JP to make it through that room, because now even if he takes a death in Turtle Rock, which he will just go ahead.
He's just gonna take one.
Yeah.
Because why not?
It's a good idea just to respawn there and get a small health refill.
This is the shut down that infernal beeping death.
It might be a time save in the long run for the amount of tilt that beeping gives me, so...
So the hobo had the cape, which leads to the hook shot on bumper ledge. Now, Humbugh just hasn't checked the bumper ledge, so he doesn't have the hook shot. JP has checked bumper ledge, but doesn't have the cape. So both of our runners are probably going to be heading into GT without a hook shot here. Moldorm bounce of the match. Get out. Don't actually get out.
So Humbugh essentially go-moding this Turtle Rock did skip the lava chest and the big chest. And so we'll make it to Trinex before JP. Does still have just that Master Sword, though.
Yeah, so I'm going to end up probably using hammer strats here for Humbugh. So that's going to be a little bit slower just because of the menu aspect. Because you're definitely not going to quick swap between the rods and the hammer here. You'd be wasting way too much time.
Very nice from Humbugh. Waited until the head was in a nice position very close to the wall to switch to the hammer. so that the knockback wasn't really knocking him away from the head. So got through that ice head pretty quickly.
And there we go. Both Trinexes exploding at the same time on screen. And the 7th crystal acquired by both runners.
And yeah, we will see how JP wants to play this. I think we know Humbug is going for the Moldorm bounce, but JP did not really attempt it in the first game, so I don't know if he's still in the mode of looking for Cape or if he's practiced up on that bounce and is going to give it a shot this time. We will see, but going into Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, it looks like he's still hoping to find it so that he won't have to do the shenanigans. He's also going into Super Bunny Cave. Maybe he won't even be attempting. Alright, Humbug once again into Ganon's Tower. We don't have an official guessing bot, but if you would like to guess where you think the big key's gonna be, go right ahead. Alright, Humbug setting up for a bomb jump here. Very nicely done. And JP is going to go ahead and enter GT. Humbug going ahead with the good old DM strats here. JP might be doing something similar.
And worth noting that bomb jump and bonk up to the DM's room is not in logic. That is hookshot locked, logically speaking. So I think, yeah, we're going to see JP skip that.
Yeah. Now, strangely enough, this check right here is in logic, what JP's doing here. Well, you know, once you have enough keys for it, which is all of them. Yep, so nothing in the right side room here. I mean, JP, I was going to say, JP could go for the tile room check play here, and it looks like he's going to. I would be terribly unsurprised if it was anything but a small, or terribly surprised if it was anything but a small key at this point. I know there's either a small key here or in the fire snake chest. JP, you're killing me.
Incredibly inconvenient time for some frame drops there.
It was a small key.
Yes. So another bomb jump.
Based on the fact that JP has the same number of keys that he had at the time. Oh, there's a key in both places. Okay. Yeah, that's a thing that can happen.
Another bomb jump there from Humbug. Once again, rando room out of logic because bomb jumps are not ever assumed by the logic.
That bomb jump, though, is much easier than the other one that he did. Oh, and Humbug gets bailed out with a free sword there and a key. A big key. And there we go. So Humbug is on the way up GT.
And we're going to see another attempt at the Moldorm bounce. So as long as Humbug can execute that, he is in fantastic shape to take this race and this series.
And unfortunately, it looks like JP decided to go the full right side, which, you know, is something you might do if you're looking for a hook shot.
Yeah, he's sticking close to the checks that are in logic without the hook shot.
Yep, he doesn't have it in him, so he's gonna peace out, unfortunately.
Yep, so he's just going to start scouring the overworld looking for the cape.
Yeah, if only he'd have grabbed that cape while he was checking the other flipper checks, but I imagine Hobo's going to be one of the last things on his mind.
Yeah, and having opted not to do the hobo check with a water walk coming out of Ice Rod Cave, there's just never really any good time to route it in after that. Oh, actually, though, this is a move that we've seen a couple of times in this tourney. You pick up the big red bomb, and then you check the hobo on the way to the pyramid, since you don't lose the red bomb if you dive into the water off of a dock, like there is by the hobo in the Dark World.
Oh, yeah, huh. That would be fortunate for JP. But he's not doing it. Doesn't mean he won't after this. This does still seem like the sort of time you might check hobo while you're thinking about it. Maybe he's just figuring if it's not an obscure check, I've already lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, given that he's already lost one race to a Moldorm bounce, he might just be thinking he's already lost anyway, as Humbug is into Moldorm 2, and we'll see how well he can execute this very precise trick this second time. Oh, JP is going back for Hobo, though.
Okay. Humbug is setting this up. Again, Moldorm has to cooperate.
And if there's one thing Moldorm is known for, it's being cooperative.
Yeah, sure. Basically, 7 cycles of complete RNG, followed by 1 cycle of direct movement toward you.
Oh, this looks good.
Okay.
Oh, he might be moving too far away. Oh.
Oof. Yeah. Turns out Moldorm just decided to peace out in the wrong direction there.
Oh, I wonder if that first hit on Moldorm is actually hurting him, because then when you get a second Tempered Sword swing in, then he's going to start moving in fast angry mode. I admit I've gotten the Moldorm bounce once in practice, so...
Oh, and Humbug takes a second fall. Meanwhile, JP is on his way up to GT.
Yeah, we'll take him a little bit of time to find that big key since it's all the way into Rando Room. So just going to be his absolute last location, basically.
Yeah, but of course, if Moldorm here doesn't cooperate, it could take all that time. I don't expect it to, but it's certainly not a foregone conclusion at this moment.
And I mean, Humbug is through half of his bombs already.
Okay, this might work. Maybe.
There it is. You saw the nerves there. Humbug moved that indicator down to save and quit a couple of times during those select buffers, but
yikes.
Gets the Moldorm bounce for the second time this series. And I don't think this is going to be much of a comfort for JP, but I think he can safely say that he has gotten randoed harder than anyone has ever been randoed before in this series.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that sentiment. Alright, so Humbug is finishing off the seed here. We're gonna fight Ganon. I figure JP will probably pick up the big key a little bit before Humbug finishes. Alright, so Humbug is in the final phase here of Ganon, doing some very nice spins to win, like you do. And Humbug is down, or rather, Ganon is down on Humbug's side.
And that is Humbug finishing with an official race time GG time of 1 hour, 24 minutes, and 31 seconds.
Alright, and it does look like JP's going to go ahead and finish the run for us. It's a good show of sportsmanship on his part. I know I'd be salty. Like, I'd be real salty. Yeah, checking Hobo right after Ice Palace could have gotten JP the win. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out. So I will say that in this instance, JP actually does know that he lost to Moldorm Bounce at this point, because basically right after JP, or right after Humbugh finished, he typed in chat, like, Moldorm Bounce again? Yeah.
Yeah, JP definitely suspected that that's what was happening that whole time he was looking for Cape, but we'll see if we can get Humbugh up here into chat with us. There we go. GG's,
Speaking
Humbugh.
GG. Thank you.
How? But yeah.
But yeah, let's just finish with a but yeah. I would like to apologize to P-Train and all the other council members for what havoc will probably be wreaked in the racing council channels on the main Discord after this. I am terribly sorry. This was not my intention.
Well, so I do want to echo what P-Train has been saying in chat also, is that you had a pretty good shot at winning this race and probably would have won this race even without the Moldorm Bounce, because I don't know if you know yet, but the hook shot was just hanging out there up on Bumper Ledge.
Yeah. JP and I were talking a little bit about it, and I did Thieves Town as my last crystal. I am fairly certain that if I would have kept going, my next check would have been Graveyard Ledge and then Bumper Cave, because I saved and quit from Sea House, so I would have gotten it, but it I gotta tell you, still it feels, I don't know. Once, sure. Twice, dude.
Yeah, I could tell from the post-race banter in the chat there, you felt a little dirty about the whole situation.
A little? Yeah, I do feel a little dirty. I'm gonna be completely honest. Once I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't feel dirty, but twice, yeah, for sure. But as JP also said, it's a legal trick, and that's just the game, how the game is set up, and that's how the game works. So that's how it is.
So moving on from the Moldorm Bounce, any other thoughts about the rest of the seed? You also gained a fair bit of time by that pod first play, which just had so much of what we needed for the rest of the seed.
Yeah, that felt nice at the time, but the more I kept going after those mids, the less good it felt. They gave me nothing, because Ice Rod, which was all I needed, technically, was just hanging out in Thieves Town, and had I gone Thieves Town first and then pod, I would have practically been in sort of go mode. When getting
we saw
the mids,
you go for.
I think.
Yeah, we saw you after getting the mids in pod. You pretty much hard followed them as much as you could.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted the pod play to work out, and it did in a way, but yeah, it didn't feel that as good as I thought it would, but it worked out.
So we see JP is in his Ganon fight. Did a very nice job in phase 2 of Ganon with just getting up into that top corner to get the double spins in. So now on to phase 4.
All right. So, according to the chat here, after the you're either going to be in 52nd or 53rd position going into the brackets, which is going to be, it's going to put you up against one of the top seeds in the brackets. I don't know exactly who, but
No, neither do I. I'm gonna have to look out for that to see who I'm up against. It's gonna be nervy, for sure.
And there we go, JP finishing off Ganon, crossing the bridge with an official time of 1 hour 24 minutes. No, that was you. 1 hour 30 minutes and 39 seconds. There we go. And I see JP in the waiting room. We can bring him right on in. Hello, JP. You all right there? Show me on the collection rate where the seed hurt you.
We got a message in Discord there that JP is working on his microphone a little bit, so we'll get him in here in just a second.
Okay, now it should be working. All right.
There we go. GG's.
Welcome back.
Thanks. I don't know. It's like talking about this in the chat afterwards. It's like, you know, losing one race to that is like, it happens. Whatever. It's like a 1 in 100 thing. That happening twice. It's like, I don't even know what to say. It's...
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, it would have been pretty close if you'd have gotten the hobo check right after ice. We actually thought you might have been going for hobo before ice with the way you entered near the top, but we were slightly mistaken.
Yeah, like once I got the mitts, I knew I was kind of in trouble because I knew now, like, I was running out of time, and I basically, at that point, I needed it to be on the path again. And I guess if I had just gone a little more off the path, you know, I would have found it. But at the same time, it's like, there's always all those little one-off checks that could have it. So, I can't blame myself too much, and it also didn't help that Ice Palace was not hookshot locked, so it definitely could have been in the Cape. Definitely could have been in GT at that point.
Yeah, that's obnoxious.
Yeah, like I was saying this in the chat too. It's on me for not knowing legal tech. You know, I could have picked that up as well, and you know, maybe things are different. But it's like I said, it's like a trick that pays off like 1 out of 100 seeds. It feels like maybe it's not quite that much, but
yeah, it seems less than that to me, to be honest.
And then it like I was even marking this like between the last tournament and this tournament, I've had 14 group matches, and in 4 of those group matches, 2 against Frostbite last year, and these 2 against Humbugh this year, I entered GT without go mode. 3 of those times I needed hookshot, once I needed bow.
Oof. Oof, indeed.
So,
we were saying earlier, or rather, Papa was saying earlier, it may not be much comfort, but we can say that you pretty much got randoed harder than anyone has been randoed in a long time.
I guess you could argue whether it's really being randoed or not, because like I said, it's... I mean, I guess if you want to call it randoed because of the seed that was generated, then sure. Randoed because of the tech, it's an argument, like where if you know it, you're in better shape. But, I mean... I guess you could just tell I'm just frustrated right now. It's like... it's basically a second straight tournament. I'm out at the end of the group stage, and it's like another year gone by, and I don't feel like I made progress, despite the fact that, you know, you look at the field and like so many good people aren't making it this year. So it's, I'm not the only person in this position.
Yeah, there's just an absurd amount of people who have started playing rando and gotten, you know, really good at it. I feel completely outclassed myself. I'm just like, nope. But yeah, I want to thank you for, you know, going ahead and finishing the seed, despite how frustrated you must have felt at the time.
Yeah. Like, I only finished it because I had basically got back up to GT. Like, if I was still looking for Cape when Humbug finished, I would have just forfeit. But when he forfeit, I was like, it's close enough. I'm just gonna finish it out.
Honestly, I'm really glad you finished as well. It makes it feel a bit better to just see you finish it off and be done with it. I'm happy you did.
Yeah, thank you. But we'll see where I go from here. You know, I think it's usually after tournaments I take a small break, just try to get my head out of the game for a bit, and then guess back to the ladder.
Seems entirely legit right there.
And you know, maybe a side tournament if another one pops up here soon. You know, maybe I'd love to do a mystery tournament at some point, but yeah, we'll see. You know, I'm definitely disappointed, but I know I wasn't going to go too much further anyway, so it's like it's fine. You know, it'll be fine.
Yeah, it definitely is a frustrating way to go out of the tournament, though. So definitely understandable the way that you feel right now. But we all appreciate the really great race that you put on. This was a fun series to watch, and yeah, you both played really well today.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for hosting all of this. Everyone, the comms, trackers, restreamers, everyone. Thanks for doing all of this.
Yeah, thank you as well.
All right. So, yeah, once again, thank you to both runners for an excellent show. We have one more match coming up today, and that should be, unless I'm mistaken, the last match for the brackets for the group stage between Dr. Marty O or Dr. Marty Zero and Ganon's Gone Wild, coming up in just a few minutes here. So if you're interested in that, stick around. Should be right here on this channel coming up. And I want to thank, again, both of our runners. I want to thank our tracker. I did not ask how to pronounce this, but it's like Akuhaish, for dealing with the wonderful buttons you see there on the screen. And also my co-commentator, Cool Papa Bell 2282. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely, I had lots of fun. It was definitely an interesting race to watch, to be sure.
All right, and with that, I just want to thank all of you for hanging out today. And you know, we've got that additional match coming up in about 30 minutes, so look forward to that, and we will see you all at a later occasion. I've been Dr. Bobtastic. I'll see you later.